Former Chancellor Kohl, fighting to salvage what's left of his reputation, said over the weekend he'll seek to block the release of any more files obtained by the East German secret police. Edward Lifson, NPR News, Berlin.
This is NPR's All Things Considered.
This is WBUR. We're funded by you, our listeners, and by MySAP.com, the internet solution that allows many different companies to work together as if they were one. MySAP.com. By Spy Pond Productions, creators of the film Brother, Can You Spare a Billion? An untold story of the Great Depression on Channel 2 tonight at 10. The forecast for tonight: rain develops, a chance of a thunderstorm, areas of fog, lows 45 to 50. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with showers likely, still a chance of a thunderstorm, windy and milder, a high around 70 degrees. And then Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, cooler, highs in the mid-50s. Right now in downtown Boston, it's 46 degrees. Marketplace is coming up next. This is WBUR.
I'm Scott Simon at NPR, and every day here we use the power of radio to open the world to you. Now WBUR is giving you the chance to learn about Peru and Ecuador firsthand. You can join me and NPR science reporter David Barron on the next Citizens of the World tour, a visit through time to the ancient world of the Incas and more. Proceeds from this trip help pay for the news on WBUR. For more information, you can call 800-909-9287.
From Boston University, this is 90.9 WBUR FM Boston and 1240 WBUR AM West Yarmouth. Also broadcasting on 91.5 WSDH Sandwich and 90.3 WCCT Harwich. WBUR, Boston, Cape Cod, and the Islands.
From Los Angeles, this is Marketplace.
A dark day for Microsoft and the NASDAQ stock index. Japan begins looking for a new prime minister. And when building business means selling history.
We're a repository for fossils. We don't sell them, but here's a shop in the museum selling them, which may be a pretty subtle distinction to ask people to make.
This is Marketplace.
Marketplace is produced by the University of Southern California for Public Radio International and is made possible by GE. From plastics to lighting to financial services, GE. We bring good things to life. And by Fannie Mae. The home is our business.
It's Monday the 3rd.
Bought a pot-boiled chicken.
Of no set.
Robert McCabe, Deputy Fire Chief. Dorothy McMahon, who was on the Board of Registrars for a long, long time. Jason Moody, a police officer. And Pete Scarrett, who was on the Zoning Board of Appeals longer than most of us have been in town service. And Philip Tharian, who was on the Forest Committee. Now, I would like to call on the Board of Selectmen to lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Mr. Moderator, will we please pledge allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Okay, do we have any motions to admit people to the meeting who are not yet not registered voters? Okay. Tonight we have both an annual town meeting, which is scheduled for 7 p.m., and a 4-article special town meeting, which is scheduled for 7:05. Under our bylaws, we do not require a quorum for our annual town meeting, but we do require a quorum of 150 voters to be present in order to conduct the special town meeting. Since we are not yet aware of having a quorum, we will continue with the annual town meeting until such time as a quorum is present.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. O'Leary.
I move to admit the following persons to the meeting. David S. Troughton, Superintendent of Schools. Carl Nelson, Business Manager. George Dow, Senior Finance Director. Harold S. Miller, with Freedom of the Floor. David Hanlon. Bob Turros, North Reading Transcript, Freedom of the Floor. Nancy Sheehan. Michael Sorrigan. Robert Rogers. Kathleen Pigeon. Mark Clark. Bob Goober. Richard Simmons. William Halligan. Brandon Mahoney, Seth Album, and Thomas Younger, Town Administrator.
You have heard the motion to admit people who are not registered voters in North Reading to the meeting. Does anybody wish me to read the names again? No one wishing me to read the names again, we can proceed directly to a vote. On the motion to admit, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Now the chair will have to find a pen. And the chair has found a pen. Now all the people who just voted in, to the extent to which they are not employees or consultants to a governing body of the town, they should be seated in the 4 rows of seats marked with the yellow label on my right, your front, your left. Those who are serving a town board as a consultant or as an employee may be seated with that board or in the first row in the center section. Everyone else should be seated in the seats in the front 4 rows in the section to your left. May I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the warrant and etc. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Moderator, I move to dispense with the reading of the warrant and to refer to the articles by number, and further to dispense with the reading of the return of service by the constable.
The motion is to dispense with the reading of the warrant and to refer to the articles by number, and to dispense with the reading of the return of the service by the constable. Any discussion? Mr. Smith, do you wish to speak to your motion? I guess not. Anyone else? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Now, the chair definitely does intend to make use of this motion and to refer to the articles by number. Mr. Smith wishes to make a motion to admit. Mr. Smith. Chairman of the Board.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the following persons be admitted to the meeting: Jeffrey Morgan, 12 Tower Hill Road; John Welch, 19 Union Street, Reading; Leanne Baker and Leanne Baker, 1 Beacon Street, Boston, Massachusetts.
You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Article 1. Now, as Chair announced, we do not yet have a quorum. Or do we have a quorum now? No. So therefore, we will proceed with Article 1 of the annual town meeting. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Moderator, I move to raise and appropriate the sum of $285,000 to amend the fiscal year 2000 school department operating budget as specified in Article 1 as printed in the warrant.
Mr. Smith, that would be Article 1 of the special town meeting, which is, I believe, not before us. We have to deal with Article 1 of the annual town meeting, which is to select town officers. On a motion to admit to the meeting, Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Moderator, I move the following person be admitted to the meeting. Robin Thurland, 14 Belmont Lane, North Reading.
The motion is to admit Robin Thurland to the meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Smith.
The reason we're not working on the special town meetings is we don't have an official count on the quorum. So I believe that's the reason the moderator has gone to the annual town meeting first.
Mr. Smith, you're absolutely right. The Board of Registrars certifies a quorum when it is present, and the Board of Registrars has not yet certified a quorum to be present, and until they do, we will proceed with the annual town meeting.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the Board of Selectmen to choose all necessary town officers not elected by ballot and determine what instructions shall be given.
Heard the motion, which is to authorize the Board of Selectmen to choose all necessary town officers not elected by ballot. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Article 2. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Moderator, I move to accept the printed town report for the year 1999 as the report of town officers and committees, and to hear other reports as may be presented at this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. You have heard the motion to accept the printed annual report as the report. Is there any discussion? Do you wish to speak to your motion, Mr. Smith?
No, but I believe we have a quorum.
Yeah. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation?
This article does not require action by the Finance Committee, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Pasquale, please state your name and address, sir.
John Pasquale, 12 Hickory Lane. I don't know if the mic's on, but you can hear me. Question I have, Mr. Moderator, is I take it as page 6 by the Finance Committee, so I'd like to ask questions about their data, first of all. The numbers that we're reading, Mr. Jones, are these the official numbers of the balances that we are faced with before this town meeting in reference to the free cash, the stabilization? That's the first question I'd like to have answered. Normally you provide us, before we talk about any money matters, where do we stand?
Mr. Jones, do you wish to answer?
This, I take, is where we stand, and if the numbers aren't accurate, I want to know why.
Mr. Pasquale would like to know whether your numbers are accurate. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Moderator, we're not on the money matter numbers yet, and at such time as those come up, we will give a review of free cash, etc.
I'm just challenging. This is a report. Just relax.